Hello, I'm Robert, fact checker and science blogger, and this thing is now going around that the universe is going to turn it from 3D to 5D in a day's time. And these new agey people. So I just thought it can't happen, that can't happen. I just thought I'd show you what that would mean. That if you took a die, or some cubical thing, like a dice, or your home, because it's 3D, and it's sort of box shaped, or say a trunk, any kind of a box. If it turned into 5D from 3D, this is what would happen to it. Do you think that makes sense? You won't quite understand what's happening yet, but in a little moment, this is a single 5D cube. There you are. See how it's sort of moving around? Every box you have would turn into something like that. Which would turn, and now what this is a perspective view on the 5D object. It's not actually changing shape. You're just seeing it from different angles in space. Just like if you have a cube and you look at different angles, it looks different. It doesn't look like a square. So that's all that is just seeing a cube from different angles. You're just turning it around. It's not being changed shape. It's just being turning in 3D space, in 5D space. Just someone rotating it. That's just a rotation. So I think you will agree it makes no sense at all that our world's going to go 5D. I don't think these people know what 5D means. I don't think they understand the word. It's just a buzzword and they just, oh, that sounds cool. Yes, everyone's going to go turn 5D. They don't realise it means that this is just, if you just kind of turned your head around, you'd be going all over like cart, you know. That's what 5D means. If someone else looked at you, they'd say, but it would just seem natural to them too. Everyone, if we were all 5D, then we'd be changing like that. And we'd just see, just like when you see a cube, you know, if you see a cube change, the 2D shape, as you turn a cube around, the 2D shape of it is changing very considerably, but we just see it as a single cube turning around. So right at the beginning, we just think, you know, there doesn't seem to be much going on at this point. It just looks like it's turning around, right? But if you look very closely and think about it, you know, look what's happened to the shape of that square. That's not a square anymore, nowhere near. Why do we see that as looking like a square? Why do we see that as looking like a square? Why are they all squares? And when it does that, why do we see it as a square turning instead of a strange quadrilateral changing its shape? But we see that as 3D thing turning around. Then when it starts doing, so it's still just the 3D thing turning around as we see a single 3D thing, but it's actually, but when it does this, we no longer see that as it just turning. We see that as it changing shape. But if we were 5-dimensional beings, then we would just see that as it's still just turning, like it was originally. Because we would see all the 3D cubes. See, it's made up of little 3D cells. And those 3D cells, we would just see them as turning around, not as turning around in 5D space. And then there'd be 4D cubes in that as well. And we would pick out all the 4D cubes it's made up of as well. We'd see them as if they were all stacked together and fitting together into the 5D object. So we would see a 5D object made up with 4-dimensional faces, 4-dimensional cubes as its faces, and those 4-dimensional cubes would have 3D cubes as their faces, and then 3D cubes would have squares as their faces, and then lines around them all. And that's what we would see looking at that, just as a kind of object that's being turned around. So I think you will agree that that is not, that our world can't turn into something like that. It just doesn't make sense. So that's hopefully helped some of you who've come to believe how the world's going to change the number of dimensions in a day's time. No, it doesn't make sense. Literally just a nonsensical thing that someone made up.